ESG. You hear the term everywhere these days, but some still wonder what it means. Today, we explore ESG from two different perspectives. First, we talk to an associate partner at EY who specializes in ESG reporting. We'll talk about what that means and why it's becoming more important. Plus, we speak with the co founder and CEO of an Ottawa based cleantech startup. This company is getting attention in a carbon reduction competition funded by none other than Elon Musk. All this and more coming up in this episode of Techopia Live. Hello, I'm Michael Curran from the Ottawa Business Journal. Welcome to Techopia Live. This is a regular podcast from OBJ that features executives from next generation technology companies. We want to shine a spotlight on the up-and-comers. We want to keep you updated on the established players, all with a goal of keeping the tech sector informed and connected. Well, today we've got a bit of a special episode. It's what we call a bonus episode. These bonus episodes are specifically designed to highlight some of the great work done by our Techopia champions. In this bonus episode, we're focused on EY. And EY, of course, is very active in the local technology scene, delivering all sorts of value. EY recognizes that technology is at the center of business change. It enables organizations to transform their businesses, their operating models, and respond nimbly to competitive threats. In today's bonus episode, I'm joined by a co-host. She is an associate partner at EY Ottawa. She leads EY's financial accounting advisory services right here in Ottawa. When you boil it down, she really specializes in serving the CFO agenda. What that means, it's areas such as accounting, finance, treasury, compliance, and most recently, which is the focus of today's show, there's the little hint, ESG reporting. She's also a 40 Under 40 recipient from 2020. Please welcome from EY, Jennifer Teoh. Hey, Jen.
Hi, Michael. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm very happy to be here with you. And maybe I'm going to ask you to start off, Jen, to introduce yourself a little bit, specifically your job at EY as it relates to ESG.
For sure. Thanks. So I think you gave a really great introduction. We focus on, assisting finance functions with everything that falls within the CFO portfolio. And most recently, with the rise in the focus of ESG reporting. So ESG reporting is basically kind of like a report card that companies issue to their stakeholders, such as their investors, their consumers, their employees. But instead of reporting on subjects like math or English, they would be reporting on factors such as environmental, social, and governance performance indicators. So this report card basically would help their stakeholders figure out, is this a company that they want to be involved in? Should I invest in this company, buy from this company, or work for them? And so with the increase and the rise in importance in ESG in general, that's really the area of focus that we have been recently looking after.
Yeah, and just to boil that down a little bit, I think part of what you're saying there, Jen, is it would have been the case at some point that a company would have presented their income statement, their balance sheet, but these days potential investors are looking for a little bit more transparency as it relates to some of the issues that are kind of non-financial. So we're talking about environmental, as you said, social, and some of the other factors. That's a trend, I think, Jen, that we'll continue seeing here.
Yes, and you explained it really well. And in addition to that, finance has a really significant role to play in ESG reporting. It's not just about disclosing information in these reports. There's also a whole, process of collecting the information and the data, processes and controls around putting that all together. And so that's something that our team specializes in assisting with.
That's good. And as indicated, I think it's going to become more and more important. So, Jen, it's great to have you as a host. And we also have a special guest that works in the field of ESG. She's been part of the Ottawa business scene for about 10 years after she relocated from Toronto. She spent 2 year stint. I think this is really kind of cool at Impact Hub Ottawa, which is a well known social incubator. But these days, she's better known as the CEO and co-founder of Hyperion Global Energy. Here is Heather Ward. There's Heather.
Hi, Michael. Hi, Jen. Thanks for having me. Great to see you.
Yes, it's good to have you with us. And we were just chatting with ESG, and of course, Heather, you've developed quite the specialty in this, and you're going to tell us about Hyperion. But before we get to the company, I want to learn a little bit about you, the person, the business leader. You've had, I think, quite a fascinating entrepreneurial journey here, Heather. Why don't you tell us about it?
Sure, yeah. So I studied sort of business and economics, and then moved to Toronto to get into the public relations kind of world, worked in the bigger agency world with, big multinationals, and then kind of branched out on my own and started my own PR firm, which I ran for about a decade, and had the opportunity to work on corporate social responsibility and really kind of diving into work with clients that I felt aligned with. One of the really exciting projects we did was launching Canada's first electric vehicles with General Motors. And that really sort of sparked my interest in social impact. I moved to Ottawa to sort of get more entrenched in that community. And as you mentioned, had the opportunity to work with the Impact Hub, which is a wonderful social innovation incubator. I met my co-founder there, a brilliant engineer named Jerry Flynn, who's our CTO, and the rest is history. We got into the Global Carbon X Prize competition with our technology, and really just enjoying working in this new emerging field of climate tech.
It's very exciting. Jen, over to you.
Heather, thanks. So good to chat with you. I really love how you summarize your business model as turning dirty air into dollars. So tell us more about this and what kind of customers you work with and what your mission is.
Great. Yes, that's our signature tagline. So just trying to kind of explain complex technology and put it into something that you could explain to your grandmother, sort of that elevator pitch that we all talk about. So Hyperion is a clean tech company based in Ottawa. What we do is carbon recycling. So as you said, Jen, we turn dirty air into dollars by capturing and converting waste CO2 emissions from heavy industries. And we turn that into valuable mineral commodities, some of the world's most widely used minerals in everything from our toothpaste to the paint on the walls and green building materials, lots of different markets. It's a $44 billion mineral market that we're looking at. So really, the idea is to turn a waste product, carbon, which is an invisible gas in the atmosphere that is the leading contributor to climate change, and looking at how we can solve that problem by creating a economic driver of a very valuable product that can be sort of a circular solution to turning waste into an asset. So hence the carbon recycling sort of tag that we talk about. And who we do this for primarily, it's the 80% of industrial emissions that come from just three heavy industries, oil and gas, cement, and steel making. So these are the industries that build our everyday infrastructure. And so as we're looking at transitioning to lower carbon societies and supply chains, our technology is able to enable those industries to actually decarbonize their processes.
That super interesting, Heather, and obviously very on point these days. At Ottawa Business Journal, we've always been fascinated at watching the evolution of the local technology sector. So many years ago, it was kind of telecom, and then we had the rise of the SaaS and e-commerce players. And now we're starting to see clean tech, I hope, Heather, really take hold. Can you give us a sense of, Heather, the clean tech sector as it exists in Ottawa? And I might ask you a follow-up question after about the pros and cons of developing that clean tech company here, Heather, in Ottawa.
Yes, certainly. So as you said, Michael, Ottawa is known as kind of the telecom hub of the world, and kind of the golden age of technology, Silicon Valley North, that we're all kind of familiar with. And actually, my brothers are both electrical engineers that have been here for decades working in this industry. Ottawa is really interesting because we have several decades of veterans of deep tech and technology here at our access, as well as the ecosystem of some of the all the layers of government, the National Research Council, and some of those key components. So my company actually joined Invest Ottawa. We work out of the Bayview Yards Innovation Center, which is a wonderful ecosystem and sort of area for collaboration, and we're able to connect with a lot of different players here in this ecosystem as we're building this. So we actually have a little clean tech founders group that we've started here, because there are several businesses. I know you've had Dev from Blue Wave AI, there's Planetary, and several other clean tech companies that we see emerging out of Ottawa. We've also been able to work with the Capital Angel Network here, which were our early funders, Thistledown Capital, which is the private fund of Shopify's founder, Toby Lukey, and his wife. And of course, the big player here in Ottawa, the Shopify Sustainability Fund, which has also been funding decarbonization. So we're sort of trying to show that you don't have to leave Ottawa to build a strong clean tech company and be a global player. And there are actually a lot of advantages. We have had funding from the Sustainable Development Technology Canada Fund, as well as IRAP, the Industrial Research Assistance Program. It's a mouthful, put on by the National Research Council. So there are assets in this ecosystem that we've been able to leverage. And so I really do think that you'll see more clean tech companies and climate tech companies emerging out of Ottawa.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. And it strikes me, Heather, the proximity to the federal government. You pointed out this, and the federal government, putting such a big emphasis on clean energy and that type of stuff. Are you hopeful that you can shape some of the policy guidelines of what's going on, or tap into some of the funding programs besides IRAP? Is there any special money, I guess, flowing your way? I think there was something announced in the federal government, perhaps federal budget, that is.
Yes, a little $21 billion
Wow.
fund for clean economy. So it's really exponentially increased in this latest budget. Sort of the strategic answer of the Canadian government's response to the US IRA fund there, which is attracting a lot of clean energy companies. And so we're trying to, here in Canada, keep our Canadian clean tech companies at home and support the ones here, so that we don't have to leave into other regions of the world to develop our companies. Because of the pandemic, when we started, really our first funding from the Capital Angel Network came early in 2021, and we sort of through the pandemic have been developing our technology and launching our first pilot. So we had to stay here in our backyard just because of the nature of the shutdowns and whatnot. But because of that, we got creative, and we actually discovered assets here in our community, local manufacturing companies like Kilmarnock Enterprises in Smiths Falls, Ontario. Really, the region has a rich, sort of manufacturing and tech sector that we were able to actually build our first pilot that we're now launching right here in our own backyard. And we are actually launching it in Eastern Ontario as well. So we originally thought we were going to be going to Scandinavia. We got into Techstars Energy in Oslo, Norway, and had plans to kind of relocate over there, but did a pivot because of the pandemic, and really discovered that we don't necessarily have to leave, and maybe there are advantages to being right here, at home, where we can build a strong foundation for a global player.
That's like a silver lining to the pandemic, that you were locked down here, you weren't able to travel. So you form all these routes here in Ottawa. Jen, I think you were going to ask a question about ESG.
Yeah, no, I was actually, everything that you're saying, it's just sounds like it's such a great opportunity. There's companies and governments that are investing in ESG initiatives. What do you think why do you think companies should start thinking about ESG, and how do you see that as being an advantage, or in the short, medium, and long term, really on a company's bottom line?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, Jen. Thanks for that. And obviously your work at EY has been instrumental in this field as well. So you see that from the customer side and how they're reporting and the transparency that is coming into play with ESG as well. So with us, we're able to actually help and enable those customers to meet their net zero targets. So for instance, our first kind of early adopter market is the cement industry. They have a huge problem of being 8% of all global emissions. And that, just to put into perspective, is more than all aviation, all shipping, and all commercial buildings combined. So a massive footprint. And so this actually directly affects stock prices. This is a risk to having stranded assets, and obviously a risk in supply chains. So the industry is looking for technologies that can provide solutions. We've come up with a circular solution. So in the case of our first pilot customer, which is Lafarge Holcim, the world's largest developer of sustainable building materials, we've been able to create a global pilot here in Ontario. One of the 5 cement plants they have across Canada is now running our world's first carbon recycling system in Bath, Ontario. And so we're able to actually take their waste CO2, as well as in our further research, we'll be also using some of their waste products like cement kiln dust, and being able to create a mineral that they actually currently use in their products, and they buy from a mined resource, which is extremely carbon intensive. So we're able to lower the carbon impact. We're able to save them sort of that carbon emissions sort of dollar, that they have to actually pay out, whether it's in carbon tax or in other, incentives. And then we're able to create a product that they currently purchase that can be replaced in their supply chain. So it's a really exciting circular solution. We cannot do this alone. We have to collaborate with industries and come up with solutions together. So we are finding that our customers are actually eager to be part of the solution and come up with, those kinds of technologies that are easy to adopt. So for us, what we did is we actually put our whole system in a 40-foot shipping container that is a drop-in unit. This was developed in collaboration with our customers to say, maybe they don't have a lot of space on their site. They can't have downtime at their plants for construction. So it's a real turnkey solution. Again, just the innovation comes from the collaborating with all different players. And so the more that we have ESG reporting and those kinds of things coming into play, the more there is that demand side that we're seeing that's really a real strong force for the industry in general.
So if I understand correctly, then these are emissions that organizations would not otherwise be using, but you're taking that and you're producing something that they actually need and would otherwise purchase. So it's really quite a value differentiator. I mean, and while you're also saving the planet. So that's really
we say that we turn airborne trash into treasure. So this is a waste material that's just going into the air, and instead of capturing it and maybe burying it in the ground, we're actually saying turn it into a product that has a high market price, up to $2,700 a ton for the material that we're making. And again, it displaces an emission source of the mined material as well. In states like California, they're actually now moving towards, we talk about social license to operate. This mined material will be decreasing in future. It's going to be regulated. And so industries will also be looking for new sources of that. So the players that get on early this is an opportunity. This is a business opportunity as well.
That's excellent. Thank you for sharing all that, Heather. Listen, we're going to start wrapping up in a few minutes, but I want to give an opportunity for you to speak to the tagline of EY, building a better working world. It's something we ask all of our guests to do. So Heather, well, over to you. How are you, or how is Hyperion helping to build a better working world?
Yeah, so after the pandemic, we're all talking about building back better. We're realizing that supply chains and some of the risks that are involved in the way that our business is built today. And so our technology allows companies to be part of the green recovery, to build better infrastructure for the future, and also attracts talent and people who want to work on the climate and have a passion for that. So we are building a better world in partnership with our employees and with our partners.
Absolutely. All right, Jen, you've got the final question before we wrap up here.
Yeah, no, just interested to know, what are the key milestones that you see going forward in 2023 and 2024 for Hyperion Global Energy?
Thanks for the question, Jen. So we are now into this exciting pilot phase in 2023 with Lafarge Holcim here in Ontario, as I mentioned. So we will be doing further R&D and scaling that up. Currently, that system has a capacity of 1,000 tons of CO2 a year. And just to put that in perspective, that is the milestone for the Elon Musk $100 million Carbon X Prize that has been initiated. So we can really see the opportunity and the ability to grow with Lafarge and with other industries in 2024 and moving towards our full commercial rollout, which is coming in the next 18 to 24 months.
Very exciting times for you, Heather. Well, listen, we want to wish you and all of your colleagues at Hyperion great growth. It strikes me that that you, Heather, and you, Jennifer, are kind of rowing in the same direction, if I can put it that way. Heather, you're enabling the tools to reduce carbon, and Jennifer is trying to figure out the non-financial ways to report on them to make sure we can understand what companies are doing to pitch in this bigger goal. So thank you, Heather, very much for joining us today. We appreciate your time, and thank you to you, Jennifer, for being my co-host today, and best wishes to all of our friends at EY. We'll see you soon. All right, that was Heather and Jennifer. Big thanks to both of them for participating and talking a little bit about ESG and how it fits into all of our lives. I want to thank you for watching or listening to Techopia Live. This is a regular podcast, as I mentioned. You can watch it on YouTube or LinkedIn or whatever social media channel, even your favorite audio channels, if that's what you prefer. And I wanted to give a shout out to a new project that we did with EY just a few months ago. We launched something called Techopia EY Insights Report, and we launched it in March with great fanfare. This is a glossy magazine that was produced in cooperation with EY. Contains all sorts of fascinating articles, including a look back at the 75 years in tech. We take a look at the past, present, and future of Ottawa's technology sectors from three leaders from different generations. We take a look at the flagship companies, the big established players, and kind of the next gen ones. So you can check all that out at Techopia EYinsights.ca. Techopia EYinsights.ca. We hope Techopia is keeping you connected and informed. Let's keep building Ottawa's technology utopia. That's Techopia. See you soon. Bye-bye, everyone.